And I'm back after being away for God knows how long. Alright, today I'm going to show you something pretty simple. It's how to replace the wheels and also the bearings on a 1/10 scale RC car. And it should work pretty much the same way for any scale. You're going to need one main tool, and there's one tool you might need. The main thing you're going to need is a socket. One of these. Usually comes with every RC car kit, or you can get them pretty cheap. And possibly a pair of pliers too. Now, first thing you're going to want to do, pick up the car, and see that bolt in there? That's what's holding the wheel on. So, you take the car, and you hold the wheel, and you just unscrew that nut with the socket. After that, the wheel just pops right off. And you do the same thing for all three others, excuse me. And it's just as simple. Just twist, and that'll come right off. Once the nut's off, the wheel just slides right off. And now you can see the bearing is actually in the wheel on this one, but these bearings don't need replacing, so I'm actually gonna bring you guys over here to my other car. And as you can see, this is pretty much wrecked. Although it didn't get this way from crashing, and I took it apart so I could clean it up. Anyway, the bearings on this side back here need to be replaced, so I'm going to do that and show you how you replace the bearings. Alright, first things first, you're going to need your friend the socket again. Where did I put him? And you just twist. I put the bolt back on so I don't lose it, but regardless, it's real simple. You just twist the bolt off, put that somewhere you're not going to lose it. This is a hex here. This is what the wheel locks to. I don't know if you can see what I'm pointing to here. The wheel locks onto that. You can see in there, that just goes over top of that. And that's usually only on the back, but some cars have that on the front too. Depends on whether or not they're four-wheel drive. Anyway, you pull that piece off, and then there's a little pin right here, the silver thing. Pop that out, and sit that down somewhere where it's not going to be lost, and then pull this little washer here off. And it's that simple. Now, it gets the little trickier part. You got to take this block right here off, so you can actually pop the bearings out of it. So for that, you'll need a screwdriver. Phillips head in most cases, but could be flathead depending on how you've set up your car. And there's two screws. There's this one here, and this one up here that need to come out before you can pull this piece off. So start with either one, it doesn't matter, just pull them both off. Crap, it's bent. Whatever. And then you take the other one off. Now, you don't even actually really have to take the other one off. I should be able to do this without taking both off. No, I will have to take both off. Alright. So, now you can see this piece, the drive shaft will just slide right out of here, and the bearings will come with it. So yeah, the bearings are still in there, like that. Hold on to this washer here, because you don't want to lose that. Put that with the other washer. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can use a small Allen wrench or any other kind of object you can pry with to just pull the bearings out. See, just reach in there and pop it out like that. And this is your bearing. This one is in pretty bad shape, believe it or not. Okay, so now that we've done that, you have this empty piece. And I cannot remember for the life of me what you want to call this right now, but it's important. Now, let me just find my new bearings here. Where did I put them? Here we go. These are standard Traxxas bearings. And you can find them by looking in the parts list for your particular car. Now, Traxxas won't make the bearings for everything. It's just whichever car you have. Tamiya, Team Associated, Traxxas, Losi. Whatever you got, just look in the manual and it'll tell you what part number you need. Or you can go to your local hobby store and they should know, or they should be able to find out, you know, what part it is that you want to use so you don't end up screwing your car over or having a piece that doesn't fit. Anyway, so you open up you take the two bearings out. You need 2 per wheel. These are the brand new bearings. You're going to pop one in the top here, like this, that, and you're going to put the other one in the back, just like this. Alright, and now it's pretty simple. You take the drive shaft here, and you put this washer on it. This washer right here you put on here, on the back of the drive shaft. You take the drive shaft and slide it through the back of this piece, and basically this tab right here is going to angle towards the car. So whichever way it angles, that's which way it should be towards the car. Slide it in like this. Just like that. Real simple. Just get it back together there. Alright, and it looks just like that. Now, you can either put the other pieces back on before you put it back on the car, or afterwards. I'm going to put them on before I put it back on the car, but it's totally up to you. First off, you put on this bearing, or washer, excuse me. Put this washer here, that should go between the bearings and the pin. Then this little silver pin goes in this, let's see if I can get a good picture of it on this camera here. On this hole, see that little hole right there? This pin goes through that hole like this. Just like that, so it should look like that. You take this hex and slide it over, and there's 2 little lines on the back of it here. You match those lines up with that pin, and it just pops onto the pin. Just like that. Now you take this back to the car, and this is the drive shaft that connects to the gearbox. And this is the inside of the drive shaft that goes on the outside of that. And you just twist it around until it fits, and it'll slide. You can see it'll slide on there. Just like that. Let me turn this so I can get a better view. See, it'll just slide onto there, like that. Now, set the piece back in place. And you take this screw, and you're going to put it through here. Some companies will make it so that you actually have to slide the screw, like actually have to drive the screw through everything, but in this case, if I could get it on, all I have to do is push this through, like so, and then I can drive it back in the rest of the way with a screwdriver. Sorry if I keep moving it around. Just like that, and then you take this sway bar, which there we go, jammed under there. Take a screw like this, and you're going to want to put it through this little silver bead piece in here that pivots. Slide the screw through that, and then attach it the way it was. To your car. Just like that. Changing the bearings on the wheels is pretty much the same thing as changing the bearings on the attach point on the car, except for they're in the wheels, obviously. So basically what you do is you pull the wheel off, and you can see there's no bearings in this wheel. The bearings in this wheel are located on the car, but in the other wheel, the bearings are right here, and you'll just want to pop them out and replace them, just like you would with the other piece. Of course, it's important to note in some cases when the bearings are in the wheels, there's a spacer in between them, a little silver ring that's going to go in between them to make sure they don't get too close to each other. And if you see one of those, you're going to want to make sure that ends up back in between the wheels, or in between the bearings. Or else you could have some problems. I wouldn't say major problems unless you're getting into like really high-speed cars, brushless, or high-speed nitro, whatever. But I'd still put it back just to be on the safe side. Now, anyway, when you put in the wheels back on, and I've already put the front wheel back on, it's pretty easy with the wheels that don't have this little hex thing. You'll know right away if it has it or not. Anyway, you just slide it back on and put the bolt back on. On the back, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's a little different. See, basically, you just want to match this hex here up to this here. So slide the wheel on, and it may not go down all the way, so just twist it until it matches with the hex on the car and locks into place like that. And you'll know it'll lock down, and then you can spin the wheel and the other wheel will spin like that. So then you take your nut here, slide it on here, twist it around a little bit, just tighten it by hand so it's not going to pop off. Then you take your hex driver and tighten it up so that it won't come off the car while you're driving. Now, with these back wheels, since they're actually going to be spinning with the axle, you might want to tighten it a bit more so that they can't wobble around too much on it. But other than that, that's really all there is to it. So that's pretty much it for changing the bearings and the wheels. And it works like that on just about every car, but I'm going to say it right now, and I'm actually... this is in the description, if you bothered to read the description. This isn't how it works on every single car. It's similar for most types of cars, but this is a Tamiya. And the car that I work with over on the other side of the bench is a Traxxas. And they are two different manufacturers of cars, and their parts will be slightly different for their cars. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's going to be totally different, that you're looking at alien, pretty much, layouts for your cars, but it's not going to be exactly the same on every car. Just keep that in mind and get out there and have some fun.